Hey y'all, it's Stacey. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're making my slow cooker roast beef debris po' boys. Now, if you're from New Orleans, you probably pronounce this debris, but as an Alabama boy, I call it debris. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start with about a 3-pound chuck roast. I've got my slow cooker here. I've sprayed it with a little non-stick cooking spray just to make that cleanup process a little bit easier. I'm gonna put that right in there. I've got a packet of brown gravy mix and a packet of au jus mix. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add about a cup of water to a bowl here. And then we're gonna add these packet mixes. These are just a great shortcut. They're gonna give us tons of flavor and create a really rich, savory gravy for this roast beef. So I'm just gonna whisk this together. Pour it right over the top. Now this is a 7-quart slow cooker, and depending on the exact size of your slow cooker, you may need a little more liquid. You want that liquid to just barely lap over the edge of the meat. I've got the lid here. This is gonna cook on low for 8 to 10 hours. You want it to cook really low and slow so that it's super tender and just fall apart. Now, moving down here, let's talk about what's gonna happen. What you're gonna do is after that cook time, you're gonna take that roast beef out, shred it up, and then return it to that gravy. You're gonna give it an opportunity to absorb even more of that great flavor from those packet mixes. A lot of people skip that step, but trust me when I say you don't wanna do that. Shred it, put it back in there for at least 30 minutes. When it's done, you have tons of options, but we're gonna make po' boys out of it. It's also really great over grits and rice, just for the record, but we're making sandwiches today, so I'm gonna show you how I make mine. Choose a crispy exteriored French bread. I think that's the best way to eat these. Obviously, if you can get Liedenheimer bread, that's what you want, but we're all not lucky enough to be able to get it. So finding a great French bread is the other option. Toss it in the oven at 350 for a few minutes and crisp up the outsides. That helps too. I'm just gonna slice this open. And I'm gonna serve it the way my favorite restaurant in New Orleans serves this, with a little mayonnaise, some Creole mustard or some spicy brown mustard. You could even use yellow mustard in this case. I'm gonna add some pickles to this. And then comes the best part, the beef. You can see just how delicious and juicy and tender this is. It's literally just fall apart. I'm gonna pile this right on top of my bread here. And top it with something that's a little unusual, but it's such a great addition, sliced cabbage of all things. It gives it a great crunch and a great flavor. Serve this alongside tons of napkins because if you're eating it the right way, you're gonna need a lot of them. Folks, you can find this full super easy recipe by heading over to the website at southernbite.com. Just visit the Simply Southern TV tab right at the top or in the menu bar. Y'all enjoy.
You know, Mary, I've often wondered why those sandwiches were called po' boys, and fortunately, Stacey had the answer on southernbite.com.
Well, do tell.
Well, as the story goes, a pair of brothers owned a sandwich shop in New Orleans. When streetcar conductors went on strike in the 1920s, many of them couldn't afford to eat. And being former streetcar conductors themselves, the brothers fed them leftovers from their restaurant. They would turn the meat and bread scraps into sandwiches and give them to the poor boys who were out of work.
Oh, well now that's a good little piece of trivia to know there. They're so popular nowadays, you can find versions of po' boys made with any manner of protein in most any restaurant. Of course, I'm a bit partial to that roast beef one that we just saw. We want to say thank you to the Alabama Cattlemen's Association for sponsoring today's recipe.
We're glad you've been with us for today's Simply Southern, and I hope you'll be back at the same time next week. We'll visit a restaurant where the food is just about as fresh as you can get.
And we'll meet a lady who has made a career of fashioning jewelry from some of the most unusual materials you can imagine. I'm Mary Wilson.
And I'm Kevin Worthington. We hope to see you next time.
Simply Southern is produced by the Alabama Farmers Federation and made possible with the support of Alabama Farmers Cooperative and these sponsors.